India's message to Beijing is loud and clear. The Eastern Front is armed, alert and unafraid. The Indian Army is ready to strike back if China decides to test its resolve on the Eastern Front in any manner. The Indian Army has ramped up its combat preparedness near one of the country's most strategically vulnerable stretches, the Siliguri corridor, also known as the Chicken's Neck. This narrow 22-kilometer wide land bridge connects mainland India to the northeast. And right next to it, at the Teesta Field Firing Range in West Bengal, India has staged a powerful, precision-heavy military exercise that signals far more than just routine readiness. It was an exhibition of modern warfare capabilities, not just a drill for optics, but for real-time, real-scale war simulation. Armored T-90 tanks powered through simulated battle zones. Sophisticated drones flew overhead, scanning targets. Multi-barrel rocket launchers were fired. Anti-tank missiles hit with deadly accuracy. Robotic dogs powered by AI entered simulated battlegrounds, symbolizing how warfare is being transformed by technology. And the Indian Army also field-tested an array of high-mobility, all-terrain vehicles, agile enough to move through snow-covered passes, rocky mountains, and even rivers. But the message was not in the machines alone, of course. It was in the coordination. Infantry units, artillery regiments, brigades, elite para-special forces coordinated their movements both in terms of firepower as well as strategy. And India was not just rehearsing defense. It was preparing to seize control if provoked. And this show of strength coming in the context of rising regional tensions, not just from China, but also from Bangladesh. Ever since former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's ouster in August last year, Bangladesh's interim government under Muhammad Yunus has made multiple comments about India's northeast and the Chicken's Neck specifically. And India is not ignoring that rhetoric. It is responding with action, in fact. And the latest exercise is not a one-off event. It's part of a pattern. In January, India launched Devil Strike, a joint operation by the Army and the Air Force near the Siliguri corridor. In February, T-90 tanks rolled out for a live-fire exercise that lasted an entire month. March witnessed anti-tank guided missile drills by the Eastern Command of the Indian military, again at the Teesta range. And now this latest war simulation has set a whole new benchmark for battlefield readiness. And this is a consistent strategy, not a coincidence. India is not just reinforcing defenses, it is laying down a red line, whether the threat comes from across the border in China or from anywhere else. New Delhi is prepared to strike decisively. Lights out, sirens blaring and Pakistani radars scrambling for answers in the darkness. But the real threat was already in the sky. Unstoppable, invisible and supersonic. Our next story taking a closer look at how on the intervening night of May 9 and 10, the Indian Air Force unleashed the BrahMos and the world saw a new era of air warfare.
It began with a flicker on a radar screen. Then silence. And moments later, impact. In the dead of the night, India unleashed its most formidable weapon. The BrahMos, supersonic, precise, unstoppable. Operation Sindoor wasn't just a military response. It was a statement, a warning, and for Pakistan, a nightmare. Pakistan's Chinese-made radar systems never stood a chance. According to ANI, Indian dummy drones flew in first. Decoys that mimicked fighter jets confused enemy radars. Once exposed, kamikaze drones swooped in. disabling air defenses with surgical strikes.
It is a cat and mouse game, and you have to be ahead of the curve to beat your adversary. So that is what is going to happen. So if you ask, was this different? Was this engagement different? Definitely it was different. And a lot of new aspects have come out, but we were prepared for it, we were trained for it, and we were equipped for it.
As Pakistani air defenses scrambled in panic, BrahMos missiles followed in silence. Sargodha, Rahim Yar Khan, Skardu and Jacobabad are among the 11 major Pakistani air bases damaged in Indian strikes. Each was struck with chilling accuracy. According to ANI's report, about 15 BrahMos missiles were unleashed by the Indian Air Force with an aim to disrupt Pakistan's ability to launch aircraft and other operations. With Pakistan's air power crippled, along with BrahMos, Indian forces unleashed Scalp, Rampage and Crystal Maze missiles. Loitering munitions and laser-guided bombs tore through hardened shelters.
सिर्फ 20-25 मिनट के भीतर सीमा पार लक्ष्यों को भेदना, बिल्कुल पिन पॉइंटेड टारगेट्स को हिट करना, ये सिर्फ एक मॉडर्न टेक्नोलॉजी से लेस प्रोफेशनल फोर्स ही कर सकती है। आपकी स्पीड और प्रिसीजन इस लेवल की थी कि दुश्मन हक्का बक्का रह गया।
A gaping crater now marks the center of Rahim Yar Khan's runway, proof of a strike no denial can erase. Pakistani military systems fired, but at shadows. India's real warplanes came low and fast, invisible to conventional radars, and staying well on the Indian side. It was modern warfare. So what about Pakistan's response? Wild launches, panicked scrambling and eventual silence. China's tech, touted for years by Pakistan as a counter to Indian might, lay exposed. The HQ-9 radar network, the very spine of Pakistan's air defense grid, was reduced to twisted scrap.
और हमारे ड्रोन्स, हमारी मिसाइलें, उनके बारे में तो सोचकर पाकिस्तान को कई दिन तक नींद नहीं आएगी।
The Indian Air Force didn't just fire, it filmed. Thermal signatures, real-time drone feeds, aligning with satellite images, all presented in a clinical evidence-backed briefing by the Indian Defence Forces. In contrast, Pakistan's military presser offered bluster, blurry slides and zero proof. Pakistan's humiliation is now playing out in real time. Its Chinese-supplied arsenal failed. Its military doctrine failed. Only one system truly worked. India's BrahMos. India didn't just retaliate, it redefined modern air warfare. Bureau Report, Beyond World is One.
For decades, scientists have pondered over what lies on the dark side of the moon. We kept wondering what answers lie hidden beneath the surface. And now data from NASA's twin robotic spacecraft finally peeling out some of the moon's deepest secrets. Take a look.
One side of the moon always gazes at us, calm, familiar, and filled with dark plains. The other remains hidden, rugged and scarred. Why does Earth's closest celestial neighbor wear such different faces? For centuries, this question puzzled astronomers, poets, and dreamers alike. Now, a groundbreaking NASA study has peeled back the moon's outer shell to reveal the answer, and it lies deep within. Using gravity data from twin NASA spacecraft, scientists have discovered massive structural differences under the moon's crust. The far side, battered and mountainous, is underlain by a thicker, colder crust rich in radioactive elements. In contrast, the near side, the one we see, has a thinner crust, allowing ancient volcanic activity to create the smooth, dark plains known as Maria. This new insight confirms what scientists have long suspected. The two hemispheres didn't just evolve differently on the surface. They were born with different internal characteristics. These findings are not just solving a mystery of lunar geography, but reshaping our understanding of how the moon and potentially other planetary bodies evolved. The finding shows how little we know about our closest celestial body. India's Chandrayaan missions have contributed crucial data to lunar exploration, while NASA's Artemis program plans to put humans back on the moon, aiming to explore these very contrasts firsthand. China is also sending newer probes to the lunar surface and plans to set up a nuclear reactor in collaboration with Russia. As the moon prepares to welcome new explorers, its ancient secrets continue to emerge, one discovery at a time. Bureau Report, WION, World is One.
The European Union is accusing TikTok of violating its Digital Services Act. TikTok allegedly failed to maintain a public advertisement repository that is now mandatory under the EU's Digital Services Act. European Union regulators have officially charged TikTok for breaching the EU's Digital Services Act. If found guilty, TikTok could be slapped with a massive fine running into billions. Reports suggesting the short video platform could face hefty fines of up to 6% of its global revenue. EU's Digital Services Act requires all online platforms to publish ad repository. And this repository is important to help researchers and users identify scam ads and understand how platforms' online advertising actually works. The report also states that TikTok failed to provide sufficient information regarding the content of the ads, the targeted audience, and the sponsors behind them. TikTok has responded to the charges, stating that while it supports the goals of the regulation, it disagrees with how the European Union is actually interpreting certain aspects of the law. TikTok also criticized the process, arguing that it is receiving feedback through preliminary findings rather than clear public guidelines. It's important to note here that TikTok is under a separate EU investigation related to risk management during elections. And for now, TikTok has the opportunity to review the Commission's findings and submit a written response as well.